Hi guys, my name is Morgan Zambrano and I am here to help you show up front row in your business. Not goofing off in the back. Got a lot of people goofing off right now. Not hiding in the middle, wondering if you even belong in business, but sitting front row in your business, like in charge, in the steering wheel, leaning in, whatever that means to you. But I want you to take control of your business. So I have been kind of having these thoughts and I wanted to just kind of spit them out at you, even if this isn't like a full cohesive training. This is just to kind of get the conversation started and to get you thinking in this direction, because these are actually things that I don't necessarily hear a lot of people talking about. And this is just my opinion. Let's just put it that way. This is just my opinion of the things that I think are important in 2023 as a business owner. Let's call this like the top 5 skill sets that I think that you could have in 2023. So the first one, this is the one that I'm seeing like kind of trending. I do see a lot of people talking about this. Coaches have really kind of leaned into this. This is kind of everywhere. And that is the shift from lead generation to customer loyalty and the customer experience. So for the last probably like 3 years, it's been very, very heavy on customers. Find new customers, like doing reels and with TikTok exploding and all of this stuff. It's all about lead generation. How quickly can you go viral? How many new people can you bring in? How many followers can you get? It's been about like how many people can we get in front of? And I'm telling you, there's a massive shift to customer loyalty, to how can we up-level the customer experience? How can we keep the customers? How can we keep the loyalty? How can we keep the followers? How can we build deeper relationships? And so I really think a shift to customer loyalty and the customer experience, things like after they purchase, what is your follow-up like? What is your education like? A lot of time what I see is that we educate on the front end. And then as soon as they purchase, it's like, yes. And that's like the end of it. Instead of the education should actually start once they have the product. All of the education that you do before they have the product, they're not even ready for it. That's actually just like helping them to decide whether to purchase or not. But after they make the purchase, having that continued education, having that continued follow-up. Or worse, I see people relationship build, comment, give love, like all this stuff. And then the moment they buy or the moment they join your team, then it's like, got him. And then you just like continue to relationship build with the other people. But that long-term loyalty of like giving people a good experience and creating that deeper relationship and keeping that trust after they purchase from you, that's a skill that I think everyone should work on and create that better experience for your customers to keep them long-term. It's not just about getting the sale. It's about keeping them and keeping them happy and keeping those loyal customers. Number 2 is is being a real human. Like not just being a robot for your products, not just talking about your products, and not just even bringing your products into your real life. Do I think you should still use your products every day publicly? Yes. That's been one of my biggest things forever, is use your products every day publicly. But I think it's still important. It's actually more important than ever to share things that have nothing to do with your products and to have posts that have no call to action, because it really is just like you and your kids at the zoo. Like there's no story, there's no pitch. It's just you being a human. And I really think that we've become so business focused that even our lifestyle posts can feel kind of pitchy, can feel kind of salesy, because we've learned like, okay, we have to give value all the time, right? I'm here giving you free value. It's what we do. But there's always some sort of like, oh, she's trying to convince me to join her team. She's trying to show me her lifestyle so that I buy her products. Like there's always an ulterior motive, you know? So what if you just go to the zoo? What if there's no pitch? And I'm telling you this as someone who, my followers are perking up more than ever. All of you are perking up more than ever and responding more than ever to my lifestyle content that has nothing to do with business. I think it's kind of like a breath of fresh air. you're just like, oh my gosh, finally someone who's doing something normal. Finally someone who's just talking about their kids and there's not some sort of like big backstory. You know what I mean? Like, I really think that it's just nice. It's just nice to just have a human in your newsfeed, because most of the people in your feed are trying to sell you something. And it's just kind of nice to just be a real human without a pitch. So I personally recommend doing some real human posts without pitching. Next, this is a big one, is I think it's super important to network in person with other real humans. I'm not telling you that you suddenly have to like do a ton of in-home parties, or that you have to like fill a hotel conference room, which I guess was a thing back in the 90s. I personally have like never been involved in anything like that. But I'm not telling you that like, I'm not saying like, ooh, let's go old school. I'm saying have dinner with real people. Go have coffee with real people. I just got off my first line call and I challenged them. I said, I don't think it should be an option. I think once a month on your calendar should be having coffee with a Senna sister, having coffee with another network marketer, and talking business with someone in person, holding a conversation, not just in a group chat, not just in Messenger, not just going live where it's a one-way conversation, but like going to have coffee with a human and talking about business in person for an hour, learning to have a conversation with people. And then here's the other thing, and I heard this from Daniel G, and I was like, oh my gosh, if y'all don't follow Daniel G, I think you're crazy. But he said, when you see people in person and share about it, then it gives you credibility to the people who watch you online. But when you do stuff online, it gives you credibility when you see people in person. So for example, I'll use makeovers as an example, okay? I don't do a lot of makeovers, but it's a lot of you are in my company and we do makeovers. So doing an in-person makeover on a real human and posting about it, taking a selfie with them, or taking like a little pan video of you doing their makeup, or a boomerang or whatever. You take a picture doing their makeup in person and you post that, then your people online go, oh my gosh, she really knows what she's doing. But the people who look at you to see if you should do makeovers, so the people that are watching you in person are like, but does she have an Instagram? Let me look at her before and afters. You see what I mean? So like when online people see you with real people in person, it builds your credibility. But people in person who see you have an online presence, it builds your credibility. So this is the year that you need to have both. But that in person, a lot of people still aren't doing in-person stuff, even just like having dinner. I'm not saying you have to do a full-blown training or you have to do an in-home party. I'm saying, are you connecting with humans in person? And when you show that online, it's going to build extra credibility in your business. Okay, next, this is one of the biggest skills I personally have been working on. So this is my, like personally, I think that this is super important, is learning better communication skills. And I have a whole list of things that I wrote down. Communication, this is like, for me, this is stuff that I'm working on, is my written communication. So this could be my posts. This could literally be the way that I text people. This could be email marketing. But like anything that's written, I want to up-level my communication. And honestly, I think I'm a pretty good communicator when it comes to at least the online space. But I still want to be better. I say all the time. I say all the time. I want to work on being a better communicator in all avenues. So in my writing, in my big one, conversations. When's the last time you had a conversation with someone that you don't know really well? The challenge that we got from Eric Worre a year ago or so was to have a 10-minute conversation with someone that you don't know very well. 10 minutes. I can barely go 2 minutes with someone that I don't know very well. It makes me nervous. I have massive social anxiety. I don't know how to hold a conversation. So that challenge was very good for me, and it's something that I've worked on for a year. And I'm still not very good at it, but I'm a lot better than I was a year ago. I'm much better at conversation than I was a year ago, because when he said, when's the last time you held a conversation for 10 minutes with someone that you don't know? I couldn't answer because I don't do that. And so learning how to have conversations with humans in person or online. Don't mind me. I live on a main road. So, okay. So what was I saying? communication. So communication can be written, communication can be actual conversations, communication could be speaking, working on your public speaking or live videos, the way that you speak in live videos. Another thing, like so many of you think, that you're not great at live video or that you're not great at speaking. Nobody is. Nobody is in the beginning. All of my videos were atrocious. They were awful. Every time I share them, some of you don't even believe that they were me. Like, my voice is so different that you don't even believe that it's me. I didn't start doing this projection thing that I do until like 2 years ago. And even then I want to learn how to tone it down. I feel like I talk too loudly. Every time I listen to my videos back, I'm like, why am I yelling at people? But this is learned. It's learned. I learned how to project by speaking on stages. I learned how to project by speaking on Zoom. I learned how to project my voice. I didn't do this even 2 years ago. I did not speak this way. My voice changes very intentionally as I learn how to become a better speaker. And so if you right now are not a good speaker, you're not going to get there without speaking. And so you have to learn, or you have to intentionally practice communicating in these different ways. The reason I said written communication is because I'm really honing in on developing my first line, meaning the people who join with me directly, I am like hammering them with like high level business tips. And so one of the biggest things they've told me is, we don't know how to write posts. We don't know how to tell stories. We don't know how to talk about ourselves. You're not going to learn until you start to do it. And so they've started to do it, and they're even checking in with me and like sending me screenshots. And I remember one of them said, this took me 45 minutes to write, and it's one post, you know what I mean? But that's what it takes in the beginning. And I said, that's normal. In the beginning, it's normal, and eventually you'll start speaking in essays and you'll start speaking in stories. But it takes that intentional wanting to build that skill. Okay. So writing, conversations, storytelling is another one. Speaking is another one. And then training is another one. I do think speaking and training are a little bit different. Okay. Back to my tips. Last one. Okay. Tip number 5 for things that I think are very important in 2023. I actually have the definition pulled up. Number 5, I'm going to do a whole video on this at some point. Or if you're listening on the podcast, I'm going to do a whole podcast on this at some point. This is actually probably the most important one, in my opinion, because you don't see this a lot in network marketing. The only place you see this in network marketing is leadership. And so if you only see this in leadership, that shows that this is actually a big skill that only leaders have. So if you want to become a leader, success leaves clues. So the number 5 is emotional intelligence. I would work on your emotional intelligence, and I would make that a priority. So emotional intelligence, I have the definition, is the ability to understand and manage your own emotions, as well as recognize and influence the emotions of those around you. So many people are flying off the handle, left and right. We see it every day. Things are getting canceled. Everything is so black and white. It's good or bad. It's canceled or viral. You know what I mean? Everything is so like up or down. And it's like emotional intelligence is not that. Emotional intelligence is actually taking like just a look at everything, trying to take the emotions out of it and just saying, what are the facts here? What is the real story here? Why do I feel this way? It's recognizing that you feel a certain way, but then trying to understand yourself. It's recognizing that other people feel a certain way, but then trying to understand it. The world needs more emotional intelligence. And it starts with us deciding that we want to have a higher emotional intelligence and then hoping that other people see that it's a good thing. Okay. So I will do a whole video on emotional intelligence and what it is, and I'll actually define it and break it down for you and help you to build your emotional intelligence. But this is something that I believe in so much, and I really think the world needs more of it. So that's all. I hope this was helpful. If you are listening on the podcast, I would love if you would share this in your stories and tell me your biggest takeaway. Otherwise, I will see you next time. Bye, guys.